So as we get seated on our mat, I want us to just sit up really tall. Reach your sits bones into your mat while the crown of your head reaches towards the ceiling. Find whatever comfortable seated position works for you. If that's crisscrossed, one leg out, both legs out, or a Z sit, whatever feels right for your body today. We're just going to start with a belly breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Noticing that belly pressing out and away from the body as we inhale. And as we exhale, it pulls. Oh, excuse me. I haven't had any caffeine today. As we exhale, the belly pulls back in towards the spine. Noticing that breath. Letting yourselves yawn if you need to. No shame in letting our body do what it needs. And let yourselves focus in on this moment. Take note of how your head feels. We'll start to do a little body scan as we breathe. Perhaps our head feels full of information, ready to conquer the day. Maybe we're feeling a little spacey or airy or disconnected. Being aware of that and knowing that's okay. If that's where we're at today, we acknowledge it, we move through it, and we'll continue to use that breath. Noticing our jaw, any tension that we're holding in our neck. And then thinking about those shoulders, maybe we can begin to roll the shoulders back and down the spine. Just finding slight mobility that may feel good for those shoulders. If we want to reach the shoulders forward, that can be a great option as well. Scanning down to our chest and our belly, noticing that breathing. Noticing if we're hungry. Noted. I need to have coffee or caffeine of some sort. I think that's very important in my life. All right, listening down or scanning down for those hips. How do they feel in this seated position? Do we feel any discomfort? Do we need to adjust how we're seated? Maybe we need to sit up in a chair. That would be a great option. Then scanning to our knees and our ankles, noticing those joints, such important joints that carry us around all day and support our body. And then scanning down to our toes. How do our feet feel? As they carry us around all day, can we just be grateful for them? Roll the shoulders back. Reaching the shoulders down the spine. Relax the arms towards your sides and gently release your right ear towards your right shoulder. Settling into this scalene stretch for the neck, lower the chin down. And then reach the chin up towards the ceiling. I'll do that one more time. Dropping the chin down. Let the eye gaze look towards the floor. And then take your eye gaze towards the ceiling. From there, the head comes back to center, and we'll take the left ear over to the left shoulder. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, drop the chin down. Let your eye gaze follow. From there, we reach the eye gaze and the chin towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Final time to look towards the ceiling. And as the head comes back to center, drop the chin straight down. Notice how that feels in the back of the neck or through the shoulders. We'll take those hands to our knees or in front of the body. And as we look up, drop the head behind you. Good. Now, can we just roll that head around from one side to the other, and then reverse the direction of that head roll. Still using that belly breath, inhaling through the nose, Exhaling through the mouth. We'll do one more in each direction, just starting to let our head and shoulders mobilize. And then coming up to center, inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, rotate towards one side of the room as the hands come down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, rotate. Starting to move away from that belly breath into something called a rib cage breath. So every inhale, we feel those ribs expand out around the room. And as we exhale, the ribs pull back in towards our spine. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, rotate. Final time. From here, take both hands back behind you, opening up for chest expansion. Be mindful of how our wrists and elbows feel here. Just letting the eye gaze look towards the ceiling. And if we're crisscrossed with our legs, we'll slowly unfold them. And I want us to find a Z-sit. So we're going to work on lots of hip mobility today. So for our Z-sit, we've got one shin bone reaching in front of us and the other reaching to the side of our body. Hands can be back behind us. And we're just simply drawing the knees from one side of the room over to the other. Finding that internal and external hip mobility. Finding that rotation, just seamlessly transitioning from one side to the next. Now, if you've been with me before, I love to talk about hip mobility. It is so crucially important to our pelvic health and to our health as we age. Because if we can age healthily and do so with strong, mobile hips, then if we happen to fall, our chances of recovery after that fall increases substantially. So hip mobility is so crucial. Keeping the glutes, outer thighs, inner thighs, quads, calf muscles, and our posterior chain or our back really strong. So important to how we age. And we get to incorporate all of that into Pilates in nice, gentle ways. Come into that Z-sit once again and let your body shift towards the side. We're going to keep that outside knee connected with the floor. I want us to actively lift that heel off of the mat and then come back down. Notice how my heel only lifted maybe 1 inch off of the floor. If we're feeling any tightening or cramping through this hip, a great option is to come down to our elbow, lengthen through this side body. The knee stays down. We internally rotate at the hip in order to lift this heel. If you notice coming down to that elbow, it actually can give you a greater range of motion through this movement. So if you notice, oh, my heel lifted up a little bit higher, there's the greater sense of range of motion. One more time, lift that heel off the floor. The knee is still connected with the ground. We just hold it there. No pulsing, just breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. We're holding this internal rotation of the hip for 3, 2, and 1. Release. Give yourselves a little myofascial release there. Come back up. Take both hands behind the body and begin to take the knees from side to side again. Good. We're going to do that on both sides, so don't worry. We are just going to work again to that internal and external rotation. And take note of how that leg is just lifting up. How does the hip feel? Maybe it feels a little bit more movement. Last time, take the knees up and over. Coming into that side body position, adjust on your mat however you need to. Our hand comes off to the side, internally rotate. Keep the knee connected, the heel lifts. And lower. Inhale through your nose. Exhale, lift. That spine is nice and long. The eye gaze is in front of us. Internally rotate and lift the heel ever so gently. Remember that option, the really great option, and I'll rotate just a little bit. Coming down to the elbow, what does that do? It opens up the side body a little bit more. It may give you a greater sense of mobility here. As you lift the heel and come down, we'll do 4 more. 2. And last one, hold the heel lifted. All gazes out in front of us. We're just holding this isometric internal rotation for 3, 2, and 1. As the heel comes back down towards the mat, lift the chest up. Hands come back behind us. You know where we're headed, back into that swaying motion. Do we feel like those hips are just opened up magically? Mine do. Hopefully you're feeling the same way. If not, that's okay. Maybe we need more practice here. 1 more in each direction. And release. Beautiful. Come into that seated position. Knees are in front of us. Hands come behind the thighs. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, round and scoop through the spine. Good. Just working through that spinal mobility. Remember, our posterior chain is really the back side of our body. And so our spinal mobility is so important, well, to our aging process, but also in our ability to stay strong through the spine. If we can actively mobilize the spine and recruit those muscles to activate when needed, well, it helps us stay healthy and move in a more efficient manner. 1 more time, lift the crown of the head up. Open up through the chest, take an inhale. As you exhale, scoop through the pelvis, roll your spine down towards the mat. You can bring the knees with you if you want. And we'll just come onto that back, gently rocking it from side to side. All right, let's notice how that feels. I'll adjust on the mat so I can see you all. From here, plant the feet down by the hips, hands come over the chest, inhale through the nose, exhale, nod the chin, lift the head and shoulder blades off the mat. Continuing that process, inhale, and exhale, lift, good. 1 more time, hold the hands by your sides, moving into hundreds, pump the arms, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, inhaling for a count of 5. Exhaling for a count of 5, the arms are moving vigorously. If you like, step those knees into tabletop. We've got a nice tabletop position, challenging our core. We're not loving that, remember? Feet to the ground is also fantastic. 2 more rounds, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and release. Reach the arms overhead, find that expansive stretch as you lengthen the legs across the mat. From here, hands come back down by our sides. Float the right foot to 45 degrees. Start with that small dinner plate size circle. Notice how that feels at the hip. And we stabilize at the 4, 2, and 1. Let's reverse it. Taking that leg back and 4, 3, 2, and 1. From here, immediately flex the foot, lift it a little bit higher, bring it across the body and around for some large beach ball size circles. So a little bit different here as we mobilize. 2, and 1. Reverse it. Let that leg fall outside of the body. Sweep it around. We'll do 3, 2, and 1. Bending the knee as it comes into the chest. Gently slide the knee outside of the body for a nice inner thigh stretch. Find your breath again. And release. Right leg extends all the way back out. Left leg floats to 45 degrees. Start with that small dinner plate size circle again. Grounding the right heel into the mat. We've got 3, 2, and 1. Reverse it, opposite direction. Mobilize at the hip. Stabilize at the core. 3, 2, and 1. Immediately flex the foot, lift it a little bit higher, bring the leg across the body and around. You have 4 big beach ball sized circles in each direction. One more here. And reverse it. Take the leg out and out and up. 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knee. Pull it into the chest. Slide that leg outside of the body. Sink into that inner thigh stretch. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. That knee comes back to the belly. Both hands find the shin bones. We're going into our Pilates 5 ab series. Head and shoulder blades hover off of the mat. Lift your right leg, extend, and switch. Now, I can't demo this one very well, so I'm going to demo it like once, and then I'm going to leave it to you guys to conquer. I've got this big beach ball in front of me. But as you extend those legs out, I want you to listen to your core. Do we need to lift or lower the head at all? You can always come back to the mat. Inhale and exhale, switch one more time. And release from there. Both hands come into the chest for double leg stretch. Send your hands and feet up to the ceiling. Reach the hands around, hug the knees in tight. If you want a little bit more work for the core, start to send those toes out a little bit further. Good. Head and shoulder blades can come off of the mat. Zip up through those inner thighs as you reach them up to the ceiling and pull them in. One more time. Out we go. And in. Take the toes to the ceiling. Grab your hamstring. Extend the left leg out. And move into scissors. Nice stretch here. You can drop that leg low to the ground and use your core to stabilize. Reach and switch. Again, challenge here. Lift your head and shoulder blades off of the mat. See how that feels for your core. Challenging it. 2 and 1. Release. Feet come together. Hands by our sides. Lower the feet about 6 inches. Lift them up. Lower, lower, and lift. Knees could bend if that feels right for our core. All right, you have 3 more. 2 and 1. Fantastic. Once those feet come back to the ground, hands at the base of the skull, taking opposite shoulder across the body into rotation, and release. Left shoulder comes up and across, working into those obliques. Lifting up and over, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. With 1 more, and bring it down. Fantastic. Hands come out wide, like a figure T shape. Feet are wide on the mat. So if you glance down, your feet are a little bit wider than your hips. From there, we'll sway the knees from side to side. Just letting ourselves, once again, open up through those hips. With a little rotation through the low back. With the palms facing the ceiling. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. All right, stack the knees right over the hips. Finding that nice position where we can lift the hips up into a bridge. Lower the hips and press them to the ceiling. All 10 of our toes are connected with the floor below. The crown of our head reaches back long. And our belly is really engaged here. So draw that belly button towards your spine. Lift and lower. How do the backs of those legs feel? We're starting to feel this work through the glutes. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. We'll do 3, 2, and on our last one, let's hold those hips lifted. We've got another isometric hold here in our bridge. Keep the hips lifted. Reach those 10 toes down into the mat. We hold it from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hips come down. Knees sway from side to side. Fantastic. All right, coming up, we'll bring one knee into the chest. Use it as leverage to lift yourselves up into a seated position. From that seated position, we're going into spine stretch forward. Shoulders come back and down the spine. Arms float forward. Start with the crown of your head as you reach it over the thighs towards your knees. Stack the spine back up one vertebra at a time. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, stack it back up. Coming back into that spinal articulation. One more time. Inhale at the top. Exhale, roll the spine down. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, lifting up. Reach the arms in opposition. We rotate towards one side of the room. Roll down and reach for that pinky toe and come up for soft. Rotate. Roll down and reach. Good. Continue to move from one side to the other. Reach those arms long and across the legs. Final time on each leg or each arm. Reach everywhere. You want to think about it. And coming up, hands slide behind us. And come back and open up through the chest again. Let the chest widen. Let the breathing simplify. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Coming up and over onto our side. As we come onto our side, we move into our side lying work. As promised, we've got internal and external rotation today at those hips. We can be on our elbow or release down to your mat, regardless that rib cage is lifted, eye gaze looking forward. Top leg starts to lift and lower. Notice how that leg is only lifting as high as the top of our hip. And our hips are stacked, one on top of the other. As are the shoulders. So if somebody was looking at us from above, they'd only see one shoulder, one hip, one knee, and one ankle. 3, 2, and 1. As that leg comes down, externally rotate. Take your top toes to the ceiling and your heels to the floor. Lift and lower. Good. Now we're looking for that external rotation. We've done a lot of internal rotation today. Now you're starting to see that external variation. We'll do 3, 2, and 1. As the heel comes down, can you take your toes to the floor and your heel to the ceiling? Hips are still stacked, as are the shoulders. Lift and lower. Good. Start that breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth if you haven't already. Try not to hold your breath. Breathe that 2. And 1. Release. Shake it out. All right. That top leg lifts back up in line with the hip. Point the toe and circle the leg forward. Tracing those circles forward, nice and controlled. Reverse it. Taking it back in the opposite direction. We have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bending that top knee as it comes forward. Shake it out. All right. Lifting once again through that side body or rib cage. Our knee stays lifted and in line with the top hip. Bottom leg lifts and lowers. Good. 3 more. 2, and 1. Holding that leg lifted. Take your heel to the ceiling and your toes down. Can we lift up an inch and down an inch? Good. We're working through that external rotation at the bottom hip. 3, 2, and 1. Top leg stays lifted. Take your toes to the ceiling, heel down. It may be a little funky, but we start all of that at the hip. Lift up and lower. 3, 2, 1. Release. Good. Both legs sweep out on top of one another. Bend the knees in. And we move into those clamshells. Top leg lifts and press that knee back behind us, all while keeping the heels and toes together. hips and shoulders are still stacked. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Lift the feet up. You keep that diamond shape. Bottom leg lowers and lifts. Tap those toes to the floor. Lift the heels. Tap. Connect. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees together. Heels come down. Lift up into your side elbow for our side plank. All right. Shoulders stacked over the wrists. We can take both legs out or bend the bottom knee, whatever your preference is for your side planks. And we're nice and strong here. Lift up through that side body. And the shoulders stacked. And the hips stacked. It stays the same, just as we did when we were on our side milling work, going into this plank. We want that nice alignment of our body. 3, 2, and 1. Hips come down, knees bend in, and we lift ourselves up, folding over for a side body stretch. Gently release your elbow forward, and then slide the elbow back. Reach it forward, and reach it back. Release. Fantastic. Sweep the legs around. As we come around to the other side, we continue that side lying work. Spine is in line with the back edge of the mat, feet come forward, get those hips stacked. Lift and lower the top leg. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Good. Great job at keeping your eye gaze forward. We're all being mindful of lifting that rib cage off of the mat. We'll do 3, 2, and 1. That top leg stays lifted. Now externally rotate. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit so you guys can see my foot. We've externally rotated, toes to the ceiling, heel down. Lift and lower. Got it. Still only lifting that leg as high as our hip bone. We have 4, 2, and last one. Hold the leg lifted. Internally rotate. Take your toes to the floor, heels to the ceiling. Lift and lower. Good. 5, 4, 2, and 1. Release. Get a little more fascia release if you need it. From there, the top leg lifts up, toes are pointed, circling inward. Find that small, controlled circle brushing the inner thighs together. Reverse it. Take it in the opposite direction. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knee. Bring that leg forward and shake it up. All right, rib cage is lifted. Bottom leg starts to lift and lower. Leg is still looking forward. You're still breathing. Everything that you do on the other side is still in place here, especially the fact that our shoulders and hips are still. Yes. 3, 2, and 1. Hold that leg lifted. Drop your toes down. Heels to the ceiling. Lift and lower. Take that heel up an inch, down an inch as we work through our external rotation at the bottom leg. 3, 2, and 1. Hold the leg lifted, toes to the ceiling, heels down. Lift and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Fantastic job. Bend those knees. Setting up for those clamshells. We externally rotate at the hip and then we connect. Press it back and come together. Notice that rib cage still lifted. I noticed mine dropping, so I'm going to cue you all and remind you to keep it engaged. Last 2 and 1. Lift the feet up, hold that diamond shape. Tap the bottom toes down, lift them up. Tap and lift. Good. How's that top glute feeling? Embrace the challenge you're for. 2. And last one. Heels come together. Bring the knees down. Feet release. And we'll move up onto that elbow, if we're not already there, into our side plank. Both legs can be extended or just the bottom knee bent, whatever you prefer. Lift up into that side plank. Remember, our head is in line with our spine. And we're up, we're breathing, we're stabilizing. We're strong, so if a gust of wind came, it wouldn't push us over. You're almost there. Keep it going. Another big inhale. And exhale, release. And bring the knees in, lift yourselves up slowly. As we come upright, reach the arm over into that side body stretch. Bring the elbow forward. And then open up, bring the elbow back, let your elbows look towards the ceiling one more time, rounding forward. Fantastic. Both arms cartwheel over. We find ourselves in quadruped. Hands right under the shoulders, knees under our hips, toes are tucked under. Round the spine towards the ceiling. Drop the belly through. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, and it up. One more time. Finding our spine nice and long. Reach the right arm in front of you. Slide the left leg back for that spinal balance. Check in to make sure the glute is engaged. And release. Left arm reaches forward. Right leg extends back. Keep your stability. Stay strong in the core. And release. Let's continue that on either side. Opposite arm, opposite leg reach. Keep the torso squared up to the floor below. Hold it for a moment. And then switch to the other side. We'll do one more on either arm and either leg. From here, find your favorite push-up position. That could be quadruped, hands forward, hips down, or full plank position. We have tricep push-ups. Hands right under the shoulders, lower down, keep those elbows next to your rib cage. Let's do 6. Finishing up those last 3. And once you are done with your 6 tricep push-ups, take the knees wide. Toes come together. Sink your hips back, walk the hands forward. Drop the chest through for a big expansive stretch. Allow your wrists to roll out. And your fingers wiggle around. And just breathe. And here we'll slowly walk our spine up. Hands come right in front of the knees. We'll do a little thoracic mobility. Left hand to the base of our skull. Bring that left elbow across the body to our right fingertips. And then rotate, open up to the side. If that's a lot of pressure on the knees, feel free to lift up the hips a little bit. You can press and rotate. Let your eye gaze follow your elbow throughout this movement. We have 1 more. And open, Plant that left hand to the ground. Right hand comes to the base of the skull. Rotate, come across. And then reach in the opposite direction. Again, your eyes are following your elbow. Sink into that rotation. Come across. And lift up. One more time. Fantastic. Both hands resume back to the mat. Sweep your feet around and come into a comfortable seated position. If that's in a chair, if that's on the floor, whatever comfort means for you, we're ready to find it right now. Settle into it. Take your shoulders back and down your spine. Let the shoulders release away from the ears. Once again, drop one shoulder towards one ear. Take note of how it feels compared to the beginning of class. And then sweep it up and over to the other side. Another quick comparison. Hopefully no longer. And lift up. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, rotate towards one side of the room. Sink into that stretch, sit up tall. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, rotate to the other side of the room. And then lift up through your chest. Inhale. Exhale, rotate, finding that tall spine. Breathe one more, breathe in. And out. Gently shifting the body forward. Into your seated position, maybe even just rock yourselves from side to side and roll through the hips. Just want you to acknowledge your spine, acknowledge your hips. How do they feel? You know, you've mobilized, hopefully energized a little bit. Giving our bodies some grace, some freedom away from a desk. I hope you feel a bit of gratitude in this moment. Take a big expansive inhale through the nose. And exhale. One more time, breathe in.